Some of these conspiracies are wild, unsettling, and highly speculative. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. This entry references a theory that viral internet iceberg charts and conspiracy compilations are deliberately created by intelligence agencies to monitor and influence how people engage with forbidden knowledge and alternative theories. Data analysis of popular iceberg charts shows many originate from accounts with unusual posting patterns and IP addresses linked to known government contractors and psychological operation centers. The structured format of iceberg charts, with increasingly disturbing or restricted information at lower levels, mirrors declassified documents describing methods for tracking how classified information spreads through civilian populations. Multiple former intelligence operatives have acknowledged programs designed to inject controlled conspiracy content into online spaces using the iceberg format to map how different demographics interact with sensitive information. Technical analysis of early iceberg chart images has revealed steganographic data and embedded tracking codes similar to those used in other documented government surveillance programs. The sudden proliferation of iceberg charts across multiple platforms coincided with internal intelligence agency memos discussing new methods for monitoring online conspiracy communities. Several popular iceberg chart creators have been traced to shell companies with direct funding connections to defense contractors specializing in psychological warfare and social media manipulation. Statistical analysis shows that certain entries commonly found in iceberg charts contain specific phrases and keywords that match internal intelligence agency classification systems for monitoring public discourse. Icebergs as Psyops make sense. After all, nothing builds trust like forbidden knowledge arranged in a convenient tiered chart. And if this really is a psyop, you've got to hand it to them. It's working. You're still watching. Coconut crab theory explains Amelia Earhart's disappearance through evidence that she survived her initial landing on Gardner Island, now Nikumaroro, but was ultimately consumed by the island's massive coconut crabs, which can grow up to 3 feet across and are known to hunt in groups. Skeletal remains discovered on Nikumaroro in 1940 showed signs of scavenging consistent with coconut crab feeding patterns, along with artifacts matching Earhart's possessions. Biological studies of coconut crabs reveal they are attracted to decomposing matter and will drag their prey to underground burrows, explaining why only partial remains were found despite extensive searches. Local folklore from Pacific Islands contains numerous accounts of coconut crabs hunting and consuming larger prey, including several documented cases of the crabs attacking and killing small animals and birds. Archaeological evidence from the suspected crash site includes aluminum fragments matching Earhart's aircraft type, alongside coconut crab burrows containing bone fragments and personal effects. Radio signals traced to Gardner Island in the days following Earhart's disappearance suggest she survived the initial landing, placing her in the territory of the island's dense coconut crab population. Analysis of coconut crab behavior patterns shows they are most active at night and during early morning hours, coinciding with the final recorded distress signals believed to be from Earhart. Modern sonar scanning of the island has revealed extensive underground tunnel networks created by coconut crabs containing various human-made materials dating to the 1930s. The existence of plant-based extraterrestrial life forms stems from observations by several astronomers and researchers who claim evidence of intelligent vegetation on other planets. In the 19th century, astronomer Percival Lowell documented what he believed were artificial canals on Mars, suggesting they were created by an advanced civilization to distribute water to vast agricultural regions across the planet's surface. Soviet astronomer Gavril Tikhov developed astrobotany in the early 20th century, theorizing that alien plant life could utilize different parts of the light spectrum for photosynthesis, potentially appearing in colors humans have never seen. Scientists studying extremophile organisms on Earth have discovered plants that survive in conditions previously thought impossible, lending credence to the idea that vegetation could evolve and thrive in seemingly hostile alien environments. Some researchers point to the discovery of complex organic molecules in meteorites and the presence of methane on Mars as potential indicators that plant-based life forms may be more common throughout the universe than animal-based organisms. Analysis of exoplanet atmospheres has revealed several worlds with high concentrations of oxygen, which on Earth is primarily produced through photosynthesis, suggesting the possible presence of vast alien forests or algae blooms on distant planets. The structure and symbolism within Super Mario 64 closely mirrors traditional Masonic initiation rituals, containing layers of esoteric meaning beneath its playful exterior. The castle's layout represents the 3 degrees of Masonic progression, with the basement symbolizing the entered apprentice, the first floor representing the fellow craft, and the upper floors embodying the master mason level. Stars in the game parallel the Masonic concept of divine light and enlightenment, with collecting them representing the gradual accumulation of sacred knowledge. The recurring number patterns in Super Mario 64, particularly the significance of 7 stars per course and 120 total stars, align with important numerical symbols in Masonic traditions. Paintings serving as portals to other worlds reflect the Masonic belief in transcending physical reality to access higher planes of existence through ritual and symbolism. The character Bowser represents the adversary figure common in Masonic initiations, testing the candidate's resolve through trials of wisdom, strength, and beauty, the 3 pillars of Masonry. The inclusion of specific architectural elements like columns, checkered floors, and grand staircases in Peach's castle mirrors the layout and design of traditional Masonic lodge rooms. The game's emphasis on ascending through levels while gaining new abilities matches the Masonic principle of self-improvement and spiritual elevation through degrees of initiation. The Iraq Werewolf refers to a series of unexplained attacks on U.S. military personnel during Operation Iraqi Freedom, where soldiers reported encounters with a large wolf-like creature in the desert regions near Balad Air Base. Multiple service members documented seeing a bipedal canine figure standing over 7 feet tall, with particularly detailed sightings occurring between 2003 and 2005 during night patrols. Local Iraqi civilians shared ancient folklore about the Desert Walker, describing a similar creature that has supposedly stalked the region for centuries, traditionally appearing during times of conflict. Military incident reports detail unusual animal attacks on guard posts, with claw marks found at heights impossible for known local wildlife, and several cases of livestock being killed by an unidentified predator. Anthropologists studying the region discovered cave paintings dating back thousands of years depicting a humanoid wolf figure, suggesting this entity has been part of local mythology since ancient Mesopotamian times. Some soldiers reported finding unusual tracks in the sand that military wildlife experts could not attribute to any known species, with photographs showing prints that appeared to transition from human to wolf-like impressions. Local Iraqi civilians shared ancient folklore about the Desert Walker, describing a similar creature that has supposedly stalked the region for centuries, traditionally appearing during times of conflict. Military incident reports detail unusual animal attacks on guard posts, with claw marks found at heights impossible for known local wildlife, and several cases of livestock being killed by an unidentified predator. Royllo was discovered in 1976 through a series of classified military radar tests that detected an unknown mass moving in consistent patterns beneath the Pacific Ocean floor at depths previously thought impossible for any living organism. Sonar recordings from various naval vessels have captured a distinct low-frequency humming sound at regular intervals, matching the movement patterns of the detected mass, which spans an estimated 40 miles in diameter. Deep-sea exploration teams have documented unusual geological formations along the ocean floor that appear to form perfect circular patterns, suggesting the movement of a massive underground entity. Seismological data from the past 5 decades reveals periodic disturbances that cannot be attributed to typical plate tectonics or volcanic activity, occurring in a rhythmic pattern that suggests biological origin. Marine biologists studying deep-sea ecosystems have noted large areas of unexplained dead zones that move and shift location every few years, correlating with the tracked movement patterns of the underground mass. Declassified documents from the 1980s reveal that multiple nations collaborated in a secret study of the entity, with thermal imaging showing heat signatures indicating metabolic processes occurring at depths exceeding 20 miles beneath the ocean floor. Indigenous Pacific Islander oral histories describe an ancient being called Royllo that sleeps beneath the ocean, causing periodic shifts in fish migration patterns and underwater currents. Lake Disappointment in Western Australia contains evidence of unexplained electromagnetic anomalies and temporal disturbances that suggest the presence of a naturally occurring dimensional gateway. Aboriginal elders of the Martu people have maintained for generations that the lake serves as a passage point between worlds, with their ancestral stories describing people and objects vanishing from its shores. Geological surveys conducted in the 1990s revealed unusual magnetic field variations around the lakebed, with instruments detecting periodic surges of energy that cannot be explained by known natural phenomena. Multiple aircraft pilots have reported instrument malfunctions and radio interference while flying over the lake, with several documented cases of temporary GPS failures and compass deviations in the area. Research teams studying the lake's unique salt composition have discovered crystalline formations that exhibit quantum entanglement properties at a macroscopic level, suggesting possible naturally occurring quantum tunneling effects. Time-lapse photography of the lake has captured unexplained light phenomena and brief moments where the landscape appears to shift or ripple, particularly during the lake's rare flooding periods. Several documented cases exist of photographers capturing images showing what appear to be mirror versions of the landscape within the lake's surface, with objects and features that don't exist in the physical environment. Scientists monitoring the area have recorded instances of time dilation effects where atomic clocks at the lake's edge show measurable differences compared to synchronized timepieces just a few kilometers away. The Isle of Demons was a mysterious island marked on maps from the 15th through 17th centuries, located off the coast of Newfoundland, where sailors and explorers reported encounters with supernatural entities and strange phenomena. Historical records from Portuguese and Spanish expeditions describe hearing human-like screams across the water and witnessing dark figures walking along the shoreline, leading to the island's name Satanazes in early nautical charts. Multiple ships' logs from the 16th century document magnetic anomalies near the purported location, with compasses spinning wildly and navigation instruments failing to function properly. French explorer Jean-François Roberval's records from 1542 detail his niece Marguerite's survival on the island for 2 years, where she reported regular interactions with shadowy beings and witnessed unexplainable lights in the forest. Marine archaeologists have discovered unusual underwater formations in the area where the island was mapped, suggesting the possibility of a now-submerged landmass that disappeared beneath the waves. Local fishing communities maintain oral histories of boats being drawn off course by mysterious forces in this region, with some accounts describing temporary disappearances of vessels that later reappeared with crews having no memory of lost time. Weather patterns recorded in the area show inexplicable localized storms and fog banks that appear and disappear rapidly, often accompanied by reports of strange sounds and lights. The evolutionary relationship between caterpillars and butterflies may not be a natural metamorphosis, but rather two distinct species that merged through an ancient symbiotic event. Genetic analysis has revealed unusual disparities in the DNA sequences between larval and adult forms of Lepidoptera, with some genetic markers suggesting different evolutionary origins. Fossil records show a significant gap in the evolutionary timeline where butterfly and caterpillar forms appear to have developed independently before suddenly appearing together in the same period. Ancient parasitic worms demonstrate similar capabilities of controlling and modifying host organisms, suggesting the possibility that primitive butterfly forms may have originally parasitized caterpillar-like creatures. The dramatic biological restructuring during metamorphosis, where nearly all body tissues dissolve and reform, indicates a level of cellular transformation more extreme than typically seen in natural evolutionary processes. Certain protein structures found in butterfly chrysalis fluid share remarkable similarities with ancient viral mechanisms that enable genetic transfer between species. Studies of butterfly DNA reveal unusual mobile genetic elements that appear to have been inserted into the genome from an unknown external source, potentially explaining the merging of two distinct species. The existence of certain moths that skip the larval stage entirely suggests that the caterpillar form may not have been necessary for the original evolution of winged Lepidoptera. Arcadia functions as a self-contained parallel society existing alongside our own, operating within isolated pockets of wilderness and abandoned urban spaces while maintaining advanced technological and social systems hidden from mainstream observation. Members of this hidden civilization reportedly utilize advanced camouflage technologies developed from studying natural phenomena like cephalopod chromatophores and the light-bending properties of certain crystals. Geological surveys have identified numerous underground cavern systems with unexplained power signatures and electromagnetic anomalies, particularly concentrated in remote mountainous regions. Several missing persons cases from the 19th century onward document individuals who later sent letters to family members describing their integration into an advanced society, though these letters always ceased after initial contact. Environmental researchers have discovered isolated zones of accelerated plant growth and unusual species variation that suggest controlled genetic manipulation of local ecosystems. Former military personnel have reported encounters with individuals using unknown technology during remote operations, describing devices that could manipulate local weather patterns and affect electronic equipment. Anthropologists studying isolated communities have recorded consistent folklore across different cultures, describing groups of highly advanced people living in hidden enclaves, maintaining selective contact with outside communities. Satellite imagery analysis has revealed thermal and electromagnetic anomalies in remote areas that disappear when ground teams investigate, suggesting mobile settlements using advanced concealment methods. The Luminous Woman of Pirano refers to a mysterious glowing figure first reported in 1975 by residents of Pirano, Italy, who claimed to witness a female form emanating bright white light while floating above the streets at night. Multiple witnesses described the entity as a woman in white clothing who hovered silently several feet above the ground, with light radiating from within her body rather than appearing as external illumination. The phenomenon gained credibility when local police officers documented encountering the glowing figure themselves during patrols, noting that their vehicles and equipment would experience electrical interference when in proximity. Scientific investigation revealed heightened electromagnetic field readings in areas where sightings occurred, along with unexplained cold spots that remained even during summer months. Analysis of photographs taken during encounters showed the light source appeared to have qualities different from known artificial lighting, lacking normal patterns of shadow and reflection. Geologists later discovered the town sits above underground streams containing highly mineralized water flowing through limestone caves, which some researchers theorized could generate natural electrical phenomena manifesting as bioluminescent shapes. Similar glowing humanoid figures have been documented throughout history in locations with comparable geological features, suggesting a potential connection between underground mineral deposits and visible light phenomena that takes on human-like forms. Ammonia-based lifeforms refers to hypothetical organisms that could use liquid ammonia as a solvent instead of water, with scientists suggesting such life might exist on cold worlds like Titan, where ammonia is abundant in liquid form. These theoretical organisms would have fundamentally different biochemistry, using silicon-based molecules that remain stable in ammonia at temperatures as low as -180 degrees Fahrenheit. Research from Cornell University demonstrated that certain molecular structures could theoretically store and transmit genetic information while being stable in liquid ammonia environments. The discovery of extremophile bacteria on Earth surviving in highly alkaline environments provides evidence that life can adapt to ammonia-rich conditions. NASA scientists have identified complex organic molecules in Titan's atmosphere that could serve as potential building blocks for ammonia-based biochemistry. Chemical analysis shows ammonia-based life could theoretically use energy more efficiently than water-based life at very low temperatures, suggesting a potential evolutionary advantage in cold environments. Spectroscopic data from several ice-covered moons in our solar system indicate the presence of ammonia water mixtures, creating potential habitats where such organisms might evolve. Stardust-based lifeforms refers to a theory that living organisms could exist in the form of complex molecular structures drifting through interstellar space, deriving energy from cosmic rays and starlight. Scientists at Cardiff University discovered that organic molecules found in cosmic dust clouds show signs of self-organization and potential reproduction through molecular replication. Samples collected from the stratosphere have revealed particles containing DNA nucleobases that appear to have originated from space rather than Earth contamination. Astronomers have detected amino acids and other biological building blocks within interstellar dust clouds, suggesting the possibility of organic evolution occurring in space. The discovery of extremophile bacteria surviving in the vacuum of space during orbital experiments lends credence to the idea that life could adapt to cosmic environments. Analysis of meteorites has revealed complex organic compounds arranged in patterns that some researchers interpret as fossils of microscopic space-based organisms. Spectroscopic studies of interstellar clouds have identified areas where organic molecules appear to be increasing in complexity over time, suggesting potential metabolic processes occurring in space. Martian canals were a network of dark lines observed on Mars's surface in the late 19th century by astronomers using telescopes, initially mapped in detail by Giovanni Schiaparelli, who named them canali. These straight lines appeared to connect Mars's polar ice caps to darker regions near the equator, leading some scientists to believe they were artificially constructed waterways built by an advanced civilization. Detailed observations by astronomer Percival Lowell suggested the canals followed precise geometric patterns and appeared to change seasonally, which he interpreted as evidence of deliberate engineering to distribute water from the poles. Physical measurements showed Mars had the correct gravity and atmospheric pressure to theoretically support liquid water flow through artificial channels of the observed size. Astronomical calculations of Mars' axial tilt and seasonal patterns aligned with observed changes in the canal network's appearance, suggesting a possible relationship with water distribution. Modern spacecraft imagery revealed these lines to be optical illusions caused by the human brain's tendency to connect random dark spots into patterns, combined with the limited resolution of 19th century telescopes. Adderstones are naturally perforated flint rocks historically believed to possess mystical properties, with their alleged connection to a curse placed by occultist Aleister Crowley on a woman who rejected his advances in 1930. The stones, found primarily along British coastlines, were traditionally hung around necks to protect against snake bites and evil spirits, with some showing evidence of human modification to enhance their perceived power. Crowley allegedly used an adderstone in a ritual at his Boleskine house to bind the woman's soul, marking the stone with specific sigils that multiple witnesses claim to have seen. Several documented cases exist of individuals who came into possession of suspected cursed adderstones experiencing unexplained illnesses, financial ruin, and relationship breakdowns. Chemical analysis of some adderstones associated with Crowley revealed traces of unusual mineral compositions not typically found in natural flint formations. The British Museum holds 3 adderstones with markings matching Crowley's documented magical signatures, though their provenance cannot be definitively traced to him. Local records from the Isle of Skye detail multiple accounts of strange phenomena around locations where cursed adderstones were reportedly buried or stored. The hidden purpose of skull binding refers to an ancient practice of intentionally deforming infant skulls to enhance alleged psychic and extrasensory abilities, with evidence suggesting certain skull shapes could amplify natural electromagnetic frequencies of the brain. Archaeological findings across multiple continents show consistent patterns in artificial cranial deformation, with specific angles and proportions repeated across cultures that had no known contact. Studies of elongated skulls from Peru's Paracas region revealed unusual properties in bone density and composition, suggesting potential genetic or developmental adaptations beyond simple mechanical shaping. Research into the electrical conductivity of bones has shown that altered skull shapes can affect the brain's natural electromagnetic field patterns, potentially influencing neural activity in ways modern science is just beginning to understand. Ancient texts from multiple civilizations describe specific skull binding techniques as methods for developing enhanced mental capabilities, with detailed instructions matching patterns found in archaeological remains. Modern medical imaging of artificially deformed skulls has revealed enlarged pineal gland cavities and unusual formations in areas of the brain associated with sensory processing. Recent experiments using electromagnetic field detection equipment have measured distinct energy patterns around traditionally deformed skulls compared to normal cranial structures. Kergulenea refers to a hypothesized intelligent aquatic species living in the deep waters surrounding the Kerguelen Islands, with reported sightings by French researchers dating back to 1874. Multiple scientific expeditions documented large, organized movements of bioluminescent patterns at depths between 400–800 meters, suggesting coordinated behavior among unknown organisms. Sonar readings from the 1970s revealed regular geometric formations on the seafloor near thermal vents, with structures appearing too uniform to be naturally occurring. Marine biologists have recorded complex sequences of clicking sounds in the area that demonstrate linguistic patterns similar to cetacean communication, but with distinctly different frequencies and rhythms. Local fishing vessels have reported instances of their nets being systematically untangled and released when caught on underwater obstacles, with video footage showing unexplained manipulation of equipment. Sediment samples from the region contain unusual concentrations of rare earth elements arranged in patterns that suggest artificial processing rather than natural geological formation. Recent deep-sea probe footage captured images of apparent tool marks on marine artifacts that don't match any known human diving operations or natural causes. The Age of Saturn theory suggests Earth was once orbited by Saturn as a much closer celestial body, supported by ancient myths across cultures describing a golden age when a large celestial object dominated Earth's skies. Electromagnetic evidence indicates Saturn may have once been a brown dwarf star that could have sustained habitable conditions on Earth through plasma interactions rather than standard solar radiation. Geological records show periodic disruptions in Earth's magnetic field that align with theoretical calculations of Saturn's hypothesized closer orbit. Ancient Babylonian and Vedic texts contain detailed astronomical observations describing celestial configurations that match computer models of Earth's theoretical historical relationship with Saturn. Analysis of Earth's axis tilt and rotation patterns suggests evidence of past gravitational influences from a massive body closer than our current sun. Plasma physicist Anthony Parrott demonstrated how ancient petroglyphs globally match patterns created by high-energy plasma discharges, potentially recording Saturn's influence on Earth's atmosphere. Recent studies of Saturn's rings and moons indicate a complex orbital history, with evidence suggesting significant changes in its position within the solar system. The belief that Judas Iscariot became the first vampire stems from interpretations of early Christian texts describing his fate after betraying Jesus, with some medieval scholars linking his cursed immortality to vampirism. Ancient Coptic manuscripts detail Judas surviving his hanging attempt, his body becoming pale and resistant to death while developing an aversion to silver coins, similar to vampire lore. Early church documents describe Judas wandering the desert regions unable to die, with accounts of him being spotted decades after the crucifixion showing no signs of aging. Historical records from Armenian monasteries contain eyewitness accounts of Judas exhibiting supernatural strength and an inability to enter consecrated ground. Medieval texts link the 30 pieces of silver Judas received to the origin of vampires' aversion to silver, suggesting the metal became cursed through its role in the betrayal. Theological studies from the 4th century mention Judas developing an unnatural thirst and inability to eat normal food, characteristics later associated with vampire mythology. Several early Christian sects maintained records of Judas being condemned to feed on the blood of others, marking the beginning of a lineage of immortal beings cursed to avoid sunlight. Bacalao refers to documented sightings of an unknown marine creature in the North Atlantic fishing grounds, first recorded by Portuguese sailors in the 16th century and described as a massive cod-like fish with unusual bioluminescent properties. Multiple fishing vessels reported encounters with a fish reaching lengths of 50 feet, displaying organized patterns of light emission that appeared to serve as communication. Marine biologists analyzing historical records found consistent descriptions of the creature's distinctive scale patterns and skeletal structure across centuries of separate encounters. Sonar readings from modern fishing vessels have detected large solitary objects moving at depths of 3,000 to 4,000 feet, matching historical descriptions of Bacalao's reported size and behavior. Unexplained bioluminescent phenomena recorded in the North Atlantic closely correlate with areas where Bacalao sightings were historically documented. Recent deep-sea exploration has discovered fossils of unknown fish species in the region, showing similar anatomical features to those described in historical Bacalao accounts. DNA analysis of unusual scale samples collected from the area in 1978 revealed genetic markers that don't match any known marine species.